Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Duncan, and I'm here with Scores of Scores. I'd like to start this video off with a brief explanation, discussion of what I want this project to be. I love music. I think it's this wonderfully expressive form of art. I also love to study music. I think a complete understanding of how a piece works can heighten our ability to understand the work itself. That being said, one of the problems sometimes with studying harmony is it can be kind of like insular, I guess. Like, we get really focused on studying these very granular, note-by-note sort of aspects of a piece, and we fail to like really appreciate the whole, what makes it so great. So, what I hope this project will be is I would like to go through some of my very favorite chamber ensemble works and talk about what makes them so fantastic. Historical context, harmonic analysis, scoring, all of those wonderful things that can contribute to making a work of art really special. So I hope you will join me. I think it's going to be fun. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about a piece called La Puerta del Vino by Claude Debussy. I want to take this moment to ask that you forgive me for my pronunciation of all of these names of things. This piece is one of 24 preludes that Debussy published between the years of 1909 and 1913 in 2 volumes, Book 1 and 2. It's the 3rd prelude in Book 2. So Debussy is an incredibly famous and influential French composer. He's often understood to be the very first Impressionist composer, although he himself was a little bit unhappy with that descriptor. But what makes a piece of music impressionistic, and how do we see these qualities come out in La Puerta del Vino? Impressionism as a movement was born in the world of French visual arts. The goal of Impressionism was essentially to capture the human experience of experiencing the subject of the work. With an intense focus on lighting, and a placement of value on movement as a crucial aspect of these experiences, the Impressionists broke many of the rules put forward by their predecessors. As we'll see, so too did the Impressionist composers break the rules of their predecessors. Musical Impressionism can be seen as an obvious extension of these ideals. Evocations of dark and light in the music, a focus on movement or stillness, as the case may be. Perhaps Debussy disliked the label of Impressionist because he saw his works as more than derivative of the visual Impressionists. Either way, the comparison is so apt that it's stuck all the way through the 20th century. With that in mind, let's look at La Puerta del Vino, the place. Debussy began his work on the prelude after receiving a postcard from the Spanish composer Manuel de Falla, which depicted a gateway on the Alhambra Palace in Granada. The gateway was known as La Puerta del Vino, or the wine door. And so we have our subject and setting, a regal archway in a Spanish palace where Arabic influence runs heavy. The piece can broadly be understood as an ABA form, with a hypnotic and entrancing melody being introduced in the very first section of the piece, followed by a refrain, followed by a return/variation on the original theme. One technique Debussy uses to unify the work is the ostinato, which lays stable on the open fifth between D-flat and A-flat during the A section. An ostinato, in musical terms, is essentially any pattern which is repeated. The effect of ostinati on a work is usually that of stabilization. Here the ostinato uses a habanero rhythm, evoking a sensuous Spanish dance. The open fifth of an ostinato also serves to give the listeners a sense of stabilization in terms of the key. The rapid chromatic grace notes that Debussy uses to open the piece also serve the purpose of creating the Spanish palace around the listener. Like so much of the piece, the technique is used to evoke the guitar, a distinctly Spanish instrument. With a name like Wine Door, it's no surprise that Debussy chose a dreamy, sleepy melody for this work. The main theme, which we can track from measures 5 to 30, is identifiable with a distinctly Spanish flavor, which is in part given by the non-diatonic pitch collection Debussy chooses to use. This scale, C, D, E, F, A-flat, B, makes use of the augmented second between the A-flat and B to create a sound reminiscent of the heavy Arabic influence on Spain. Notably, the melody is only tangentially related to the suggested key center of D-flat in the ostinato. Debussy eases this dissonance by introducing the ostinato at the very first measure, allowing it to set as known understood material and then introducing the melody above it. Additionally, there are several moments where the main melody does come to rest on very satisfying D-flat sonorities, such as measure 20. After the conclusion of the main melody, we see a distinctly impressionistic tool in play: planing. Planing is a technique whereby the composer moves many voices in parallel with one another, which serves to create an extremely unified sound and brings the melody to the absolute foreground. It's also very much against the rules. In the functional harmony of the common practice period, parallel voices moving as such were considered extremely undesirable and unmusical. Here, however, Debussy uses them and other non-functional harmonies to great effect. After the highly chromatic and dense B section, the A section and its ostinato and tense melody return, this time closely harmonized. And then the party is over and all fades. Just to recap, a few of the tools that Debussy uses in this piece to create the Spanish mood: habanera ostinato, a dreamy, sleepy melody based on an Arabic scale, planing, and quick grace notes reminiscent of the strumming of a guitar. I hope you've enjoyed this video as an exploration of the Impressionist style of Debussy, and I hope that you'll join us next time at Scores of Scores. I'm Duncan, and that's all I've got.